Hi, it's Christina with the Sisyphean Journal, and today's the anniversary of the most appalling catch and release abortion case I've ever seen. So on May 5th of 1938, 38-year-old practical nurse Genevieve Horton was being tried in an abortion case in Westchester County, New York. Breaking down in a courtroom, Nurse Horton changed her plea to guilty, admitting that she had performed the abortion on a young unmarried woman from Yonkers, charging her $25. The tearful nurse asked the judge to grant her time before sentencing to arrange for care for her children. The judge granted her request and released her on $1,500 bail pending sentencing. She went right back to work. At around 10:30 that very evening, Joseph LaRosa arrived at his home on Waverly Place in Yonkers, New York. He found his wife, 30-year-old Assunta, in the kitchen with Genevieve Horton. His wife suggested that he go to bed since he had to go to work early in the morning, so Joseph went into the living room and settled down on the sofa to sleep. About 10 minutes later, Joseph later told police, Horton ran into the living room calling his name. He went into the kitchen and found his wife lying unconscious on a blanket on the kitchen table. Nurse Horton started to run out of the house, and Joseph tried to grab her to stop her, but she got away, carrying a rubber tube in her hand, but leaving behind her purse. An ambulance crew arrived and declared Assunta dead at the scene, so Joseph was left widowed to care for 3 children, ages 10, 8, and 2. Now, of course, because she left her purse with her ID in it, she was very quickly arrested. In fact, she was arrested at her home 6:30 the following morning. Her children, 17-year-old John and 22-year-old Annette, were held as material witnesses, along with a 36-year-old electrician named Neil Vetrana. I'm not sure what his role is. And I don't know if these are the children that she was let free to arrange for, because it seems to me that a 22-year-old could certainly make sure that her 17-year-old brother was being properly cared for. But who knows? I haven't been able to find her in genealogy records, so I don't know. Maybe she did have younger children at home. But I still think it was really a bad idea for the judge to let this woman go unsupervised. So after her arrest, Horton admitted to performing the fatal abortion on Assunta and even signed a statement confessing to the crime, but she said she'd only performed it after Assunta had kept pleading for her to do it. So Nurse Horton pleaded guilty to manslaughter in Assunta's death. On October 21st, 1938, she was sentenced to 10 to 20 years in prison. She collapsed upon hearing the sentence and had to be caught and revived by courtroom employees. And she was sentenced to an additional 1 to 2 years on the previous abortion case. Now, if she had just gone ahead and gone to jail on that previous abortion case, she'd have been out probably in a year or even less with good behavior, could have gone about her life, and Assunta wouldn't have died. And releasing abortionists just seems to lead to repeated tragedy, and that doesn't seem to matter whether the abortions in question are legal or illegal. We can look that over a period stretching from 1888 to 1926, Dr. Lucy Hagenow was repeatedly arrested, usually while pending new trials or prior to completing prison sentences. And that enabled her to have a total of 18 women's abortion deaths laid on her doorstep. In 1929, while out on bail pending a new trial for the abortion death of Loretta Enders, Dr. Amante Runghetti perpetrated the fatal abortion on Elizabeth Palumbo. In 1942, Dr. Joseph Nisanoff was out on bail pending trial for abortion charges when he perpetrated the fatal abortion on Madeline McGeehan. In 1970, erstwhile criminal abortionist Dr. Jesse Ketchum was released in Michigan, where he was being held on abortion charges, and he headed straight to New York, which had just legalized outpatient abortion on demand. And within a 6-month period, he perpetrated fatal abortions on Margaret Smith and Carol Shawner. And in 1984, while he was out on bail pending a new trial for strangling an infant that had been born alive during an abortion, Dr. Raymond Showery performed a fatal abortion on Mickey Apodaca. These people are incorrigible. incorrigible. You can't turn your back on them.